So it's getting close to the end of the year, and if you're like me, at the end of the year, you like to make lists. I love lists. I don't know, they're just really fun to do, and it makes you kind of think about what you have enjoyed over this last year of 2022, right? So, in that tradition, here are the top 10 manga that I enjoyed in 2022. Now, disclaimer, these are manga that I read in 2022. Technically, some of them did, but some of them didn't come out in the year of 2022. But it's just the manga that I have enjoyed this year. A School Frozen in Time. This one came out of nowhere for me. It is a 4-volume series, and I think that's what I kind of enjoyed about it, right? It was a series that had a beginning, middle, and end, right? It's not a long series, and it was kind of nice to just go in and read volumes 1 through 4 in one go in like 2 nights and just enjoy the story that it was trying to tell. Now, the story it was trying to tell, I don't want to give too much away because there's an air of mystery throughout the whole thing until the ending gets revealed, right? And whether you think that it nails the ending, I'm not saying it's perfect. I would probably give it, if I was going to rate it, like a 7 out of 10. The story is these high school kids show up to their high school, and their high school is empty. And they find out that they are trapped in this high school. Now, if I said much more than that, it would kind of give away some stuff, but I will say what I enjoyed about it is you learn about the characters' past as the story progresses. They all have their own unique trauma, I would say, actually, and that they have either gotten over or are still struggling with or want to get over, but just haven't. But I think it deals with how they are dealing with it in a very unique way and a good way. So if you don't mind reading kind of heavier, darker stuff in certain aspects, I think this series has a lot to offer. Emanon. Why I picked up this series, I found out that there is a volume 4 coming out. So I finally found out that this series was continuing, and I've heard a bunch of people talk about this. Here's the thing. I never noticed that Emanon is no name backwards until they explain it in like the first chapter of this book. So I wanted to give Emanon a shot because it is one of those series that I have heard, man, hey, it is top tier, right? The art is really good. I think the story is super unique. I'm pretty sure it is based off of a novel series, but the story deals with Emanon, who has kind of been here since the beginning of everything, all of this, and their travels through the world. It's a unique perspective, and I think it's a manga series that tries to answer a lot of profound questions. Now, do I think it nails, is it a perfect manga? Does it nail all the grand ideas that it's trying to talk about? 85% of it actually does, in my opinion. But it was another series that kind of came out of left field. And, you hear a series is good, but when you finally experience it, sometimes that hype factor can really bring down a series. You're like, my friends, people on YouTube, whatever, is talking about a series this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Oh my God. My Lord, I have seen the light, and that can really bring down a series. For me, Emanon is one of those rare cases where I think the hype and you got to read this of it all did not disappoint me. I can absolutely understand if it's not for everybody, but I really liked how it was trying to tackle heavy topics in the sense of, why are we here? The grandiose philosophical things that it tries to tackle. I think it does it really, really well. Wow. The first 2 on this list. Listen, this is a top 10 list. It's supposed to be fun. I'm like, hey, why are we here? Why do we do this? And the other one, depression. I promise you have my word. Continue watching the video. They're not all philosophical and depression. I promise. I promise. Please stick with me. The fun is about to begin. Actually, the next one is very fun. Cat Gamer. In stark contrast to the first 2 on this list, 10 and 9, number 8, cat gamer. I just picked up this volume. I think last manga haul, I think in November, right? I read this. Given, if you have watched this channel, you should know this by now. I have a cat. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's see. Let me pivot. I'm gonna pivot. I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh gosh. Oh no. Hey. Loose. I read a lot of dark and I'm gonna punch that guy stuff, right? And I need to read more comedies because I really do enjoy it. It's one of those reads where if you're having like a bad day, right? Or you just want to kind of relax, turn your brain off a little bit and just decompress and read before you go to sleep. These kind of comedy slice of life series, same reason why I still enjoy The Way of the House Husband, right? But you cannot tell me, one, this cat is adorable. You're right, it is. Two, I think this goes kind of with 10 and 9 in a way of it's something different than what I normally read. And that is a breath of fresh air sometimes when you read the same thing over and over and over and over again. I guess I should tell you about the story, right? I almost put this down and we went on to the next one. Just a quick thing if you haven't heard of this series. A 29-year-old, and that's another thing. I'm a huge fan of when mangas do older protagonists. That I really like that as a older person myself. An old man. I'm gonna need a walker pretty soon. But I really enjoy that it's an older protagonist, and she is 29 and she works all the time and basically does not go out with any of her coworkers, anything like that. She is locked into video games, leveling up her characters until a cat is found in the parking lot and she opens it up. The cat is adorable. She says yes before thinking it through, and the comedy. There's two things that I think the reason the comedy works. The comedy works because she is using her like RPG video game knowledge to try to understand how to raise a cat. And it comes off as very funny and very sincere and kind of like heartwarming in a way. And the second part is always at the end of the chapters, at least in volume 1. You have had 18 pages of her like trying to figure out why this cat doesn't like this very expensive toy, this, that. I mean, it's 18 pages of hilarity. Last 2 pages is always from the cat's perspective. And it's always funny. Like one of the bits is she's at like the final boss. She forgets to save. The cat is on her PlayStation or game console. And because it's warm and turns it off and she lost all her progress. And then you see it from the cat's perspective, like, oh, this is so warm. Boop. Oh, I accidentally turned it off. The comedy works for me. Obviously, I'm a little biased. Fist of the Northstar. I told you. There didn't come out in 2022, most definitely. But I found this series. I had picked it up in 2021, but it was just one of those series that kind of sat on the shelf. And I didn't really start getting into it until this year, and I fell in love with it. There is a reason Fist of the Northstar is the godfather of shonen. It is Mad Maxed mixed with John Wick mixed with JoJo's for sure. But again, if you enjoy shonen, I know that it's not some people's cup of tea because maybe it hasn't aged fantastically, but I think if you enjoy Mad Max shonen, there's something to love in this series. I fell in love with it this year. I could not stop reading it. I have all of the volumes. I have read all of the volumes. I want all of the volumes to come out. I have heard that it's not selling great, and that makes me very nervous because I want this to be complete. Please let this be complete. Plus, I mean, I think this artwork super holds up in this day and age for sure. So if you haven't heard me talk about Fist of the Northstar or kind of want to know what it's about, listen, all you really have to know is it's a man with nothing to lose that wanders a wasteland post-apocalyptic world trying to hunt down people. Obviously, these people have done stuff to him or his family, or sometimes they are his family that he's hunting down, but he does not like bullies. He stands up for people and he punches those people. Sometimes he punches a skeleton out of a guy. Very cool. It's just cool, man. I don't know. It is the most shonen thing that I have read maybe ever. And like I said, it's post-apocalyptic. It's shonen, JoJo's, Dragon Ball. You know what it's about. Like I said, I think it does have some deeper moments in some of those series, but it's not deep to me. It is just fun action manga. And I think it's great that I found a series that is older, that I think holds up to today, and I can kind of, it's like a little history lesson while I'm reading. Coffee Moon. Coffee Moon was another surprise this year. It was one manga that I was looking forward to because I did the video where Rex and Tristan guessed the manga panels, and like I said, I've shown this art before. It is some of the best. Like it's not some of the best. It's striking. It is striking artwork, right? I didn't know too much about the series, but I knew, if you see a manga and you're like, this art, I'm gonna pick volume 1 up bare minimum because this artwork has struck me in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like you're like, hey man, this artwork is so good. I'm gonna at least pick up volume 1. And that's what I did with Coffee Moon. Was I expecting to really be intrigued by the story Coffee Moon was telling? Absolutely not. Was I? Absolutely I was. Yes. It is about a girl that has celebrated her birthday over and over, the ultimate Groundhog's Day, for almost like 1,100 days. And finally, her friend in school starts to relive the day with her. It lays the groundwork for maybe there is a reason that they are reliving the same day over and over and over again. I'm not going to say much more than that because, hey, I want to leave some mystery. I think you should check out Volume 1. It's a new series. There's only one volume out, and I think Coffee Moon definitely has a lot to offer in the sense of a unique manga and a very intriguing premise. And I really enjoyed it. Plus, again, have I said, boy, that artwork. Boy, very good. Noragami, Stray God. I read a lot of manga. You guys know this. I know this. I hardly sit down and plow through a 3-volume omnibus. That's exactly what I did with Noragami. It is a series that has been around for a good long time. I'm not too familiar with like the history of Noragami, how long it's been going. I do know it has 2 omnibuses. I own both of them. I've not read the second omnibus yet, but I 100% definitely intend to. Honestly, I don't know if this would be considered shonen. I don't know. It has shonen elements. It reminds me a lot of Shaman King. It's about a god that meets this girl who ends up having a ability in a way to basically fall out of her body and become part like part cat. I don't know. She has a tail. I have not written any of this down. There are definitely names. Shinkai? Shinkai is a name, I think, in Origami. Listen, I'm very bad with names. You guys know this. But he meets this girl, and then he also stumbles across a young boy who has, passed away. And he can make these, like, Shinkai weapons, which is what the boy who passed away, he's like a sword now. It is like if Yu Yu Hakusho and Shaman King formed like the Megazord into a manga. Like that's the best way I can describe it. I think the characters are really well realized, I guess is the best word for me to say it. And it's just such an enjoyable read for me. It definitely it builds an interesting world. I have slowly realized, with the help of a series that I will mention later on in this video, I am a big fan of world building in manga if it's done super well. World building is such a hard thing to do. I think a lot of manga strive for world building, and I think very few actually succeed. And again, I've only read the 3 volumes in this first omnibus, but I could not put it down. And I think that Noragami, with its characters and its world, is building something really interesting to me that I really enjoy. Again, it's not breaking any new ground. There are tons of stories like it out there. It's just one of those that you stumble across, and in my opinion, it is executed very, very well, which makes it really enjoyable and something that I didn't know I was looking for, and apparently I was, because I blew through this in one sitting. Look at that. Look at all that in one sitting. That's crazy. But yeah, I cannot wait to collect the rest of this series in the omnibus format, and I hope it holds steady for however long it goes on. It might still be going. It might have finished by now. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read Noragami, and if it's a long series still ongoing, finished. I would love to know that. Thank you. You guys are the best. Hey, I've not said that in this video. You guys, the best. Hey, you especially, nailing it. Blue Lock. Listen, I know Blue Lock is everywhere. The anime is so fantastic, in my opinion. The manga is so fantastic. It's just fun. It's a great sports manga and anime, and I think the twist in the sense of like it becomes like kind of a survival Squid Gamey. I think it's executed perfectly. I think it's a fun ride. I think it's an interesting premise. I think the action and the art is awesome. It is one of the most fun series that was released, at least here in North America, this year. I love it. I love it. It is number 4 on my list for a reason. And here's why. I think it's, because I'm sure you have heard of Blue Lock. Either you've watched the anime, you've read some of the manga, or you've heard other YouTubers talk about it and stuff. Am I a YouTuber? Probably not. I'm just a guy that rambles into a camera, to be honest. The reason that it makes number 4 on this list is very, very simple. I think that a premise like this and a genre in this shonen sports manga anime thing, sometimes there are, listen, I would have put this on the list if I would have read it this year. I have not read the manga yet. I have watched all of the anime, but like Haikyuu, right? Haikyuu is the one. That to me is the pinnacle. I have never read Slam Dunk. I should say that up front. I did watch a little of Kuroko's Basket. Listen, it's not for me. But Haikyuu is the pinnacle for me right now, until something else dethrones it. But what makes a sports manga and anime work, in my opinion, is strong characters. If you have a team that you care about, not just, the Hinata of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like the king of the court. Like if you don't have your Goku and Vegeta, that just those two, if you can develop the team and the characters that encompass that team, it shoots that manga or anime to another tier, in my opinion. And that is exactly what Blue Lock has done. Not only has it made a unique and action shonen enjoyable manga anime, but it has pivoted the genre, and while also making the whole team, because they are a team, there's some ups and downs, but hey, technically, they might be trying to eliminate each other, but they are a team. It has done all that and created characters in the team that in a short amount of time, you already feel connected to. And you already feel like, I don't want these characters. Some of them can go. Listen, not all of us. Some of them can go. But the majority of them, you feel like, I want them to succeed. But see, that's why the premise is genius. Because technically, I don't know how it ends, obviously. But the premise is set up that only one of them can succeed in this Blue Lock soccer striker challenge that they're up against. And I just think that it is masterfully done. I don't have a single complaint about Blue Lock. Art's amazing, characters are great, story is fun, and the premise is unique and different enough to make it exciting to read or watch. So if I haven't said it enough in videos, either check out the manga or at least watch a few episodes of the anime to see what I'm talking about. I think they're both very, very well done. Sakamoto Days. Okay, you know how the back half of this list was not shonen? I'm going to be honest with you, the top 4... Well, the number 2, no, the next one coming up is not shonen. But listen, I know where I came from. I know I've come from the shonen world. I get it. Listen, I'm trying to branch out, but they know the way to my heart, and apparently it's Hitman. I have done a review on this channel for the first volume. I think this is the new shonen series that came out this year that people have to read if you are a fan of shonen. I think it works on all fronts. I think the main two characters are fantastic. I think the action is fantastic. I think the world that they are building is fully realized. And listen, I've mentioned this enough. It's the John Wick, okay? Like it's the John Wick world in manga form, right? I am a sucker for this. This one's for me. This one is for me. It is a favorites list. I love this series. And it's also one of those series, right? And if you read a lot of manga, it's kind of like a fun thing about being a manga reader too, is when you're reading a series and you're like, oh, this is going to get an anime adaptation. And when this anime adaptation comes out, boy, is it going to explode in popularity. And that's how I feel about Sakamoto Days. I think when anime comes out for this series, the sky is the limit. If it is nailed right, I think it becomes part of the more popular. I mean, it's already popular in the manga community. Like, I've seen a bunch of people do videos on it, do really good videos on it. But when you get the anime and manga community together, like I think it's going to explode, and I think it's going to become a popular, fun series to watch and read. But if you don't know, it's about a retired hitman who has to be back. He's got to be dragged back in. You know, hey, I almost got out. They got me back in. It's that whole, the action movie trope. And I think that's why I enjoy it. It's one of those mangas that pulls off being a fun action movie in this medium, in this format. And that's sometimes tough to do, because sometimes if you're a dumb action movie fan like myself, like sometimes, you can't really write the fantastic bad acting that comes with some action movies. And not that this is like, I think the dialogue is pretty good in this series. I'm not saying that, but you kind of understand it's got that air of 80s, 90s, early 2000s bad action movie, right? But in the best way possible. I mean, this is the highest form of compliment. And I think this really gets it, while also having really well done and well choreographed, in a way, action scenes, because it's not like pew 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 action scenes. There's one action scene on this roller coaster, and there's like riding the roller coaster and fighting on the tracks, and I think it's just really kinetic. Is that the word I'm looking for? Kinetic fighting? I'm gonna go with that. That sounds good. Where it's kind of, there's a lot of motion in the images, and that's really hard to draw. And so I give props to the artist and manga on this, where they draw and perform an action scene that feels like it has motions in the panel. And that's what makes it such an enjoyable read. And that is why it is number 3 on my list for 2022. Vinland Saga. Listen to me, and listen to me very, very well. I cannot overstate this. I've done a whole video on Vinland Saga. I think we are in the presence of going to be one of the best seinens and best stories told in manga, and will be put in the same pedestal as Berserk. I truthfully believe that with this series. Now, given I have not really read Berserk, I said all that to say I have it. Hey, it's back there. One day I might plow through Berserk. But what I mean to say is, it is a seinen series. So if you look at the top genre or top manga in that genre of series, it's always Berserk, right? It's always Guts and Griffith and their story, right? I think that's their names. Big Berserk fan, number 1. I should really read Berserk. I'm sorry. But I have read Vinland Saga and watched the first season of the anime. They are both great. Again, it is one of those where I will say, either way you want to go, I think they are both really well done. Me personally, I prefer the manga, but just experience Vinland Saga. That's all I'm going to ask, because I think this manga is trying to tell a story about vengeance, father-son relationships, and what it actually means to to take on your past. I guess the best way to put it. And especially you have the prologue, which is books 1 through 4. That is the first season of the anime. If you're interested, though, that's what that covers. And I'm not going to give away any of this, but it cannot be understated in when you talk about Vinland Saga, or at least when I talk about Vinland Saga, the art is amazing. I mean, that's a given, right? But my personal favorite part of this series, and why I say that I think this is one of those series that is being released today that I will still be making videos about in 10 years. Like, I still think it's going to be part of the conversation in 10 years because of the story that it is trying to tell. Now, will it nail its landing? I don't know. I can't speak on that. But I think it is so ambitious and so well done. And if you want to talk about a world and characters, which if you have not noticed through this entire list, and number 2 and number 1 will probably have the same thing in common. Characters, world, and the type of story that it is trying to tell, and to execute it the way he does, and to execute it as well as he does. The Viking setting, it's got a great setting and a great backdrop to this really human story, this really deep and emotional story about this son's journey, kind of chasing after the ghost of his father, and what that brings to him with the violence and the introspective of what it means to actually be like a true warrior in their world, right? A lot of people believe that true warriors are like, they got to be the toughest with the sword, the meanest guy on the block. You know what I mean? Well, what if it doesn't mean that? And what if it mean, what if the toughest warrior never picks up a blade? That's kind of like the big question a lot in Vinland Saga. What if the toughest guy out there, right? The actual true warrior never has to pick up a blade? And I think it's really deep and hard hitting, and it struck a chord with me, and I can tell you for my perspective, and there's going to be people that don't dig it, right? That's fine. Hey, I'm just saying, this is my list. Hey, you're watching this. You're watching me. It's my list. I could say what I want. And what I could say, and I'm going to say something wild, right? I think a manga like this only comes around once in like a generation. There, I said it. I said what I said. I don't back down. I believe that. Somebody in the comments right now. Oh, really? Vinland Saga sucks. Oh, no. It's so good. It's so good, though. But I can totally understand that it's not your thing. It is dark, violence, sad, depressing, hopeful. It's got all the emotions, and I can see how that might not be your thing. But for me and my list, it's number 2. Because I'm going to be honest with you, there is not a manga alive for this year that could touch this. Let's get to number 1. One Piece. Okay, I mean, hey, listen. Hey, have you been around this channel? Do you watch some of my videos? Like, it's 40% of my videos. Did you not see this coming for 2022? Come on. And did you not see the last video I posted? Come on. After the last video I posted? About One Piece? Where I'm at right now? At One Piece? You didn't know it was going to be number 1? That's on you if you didn't know it was going to be number 1. I'm going to be honest. Listen, it is no surprise to anyone that kind of follows my channel, right? That's watching this video. There is no manga or anime that has consumed my thinking more than One Piece. Given I did kind of cheat with my favorites list. I didn't say they came out in 2022. I'm just saying the ones that I read in 2022, and I have not read any manga more than this. I'm not going to go into the story of One Piece. I have a whole playlist of reading One Piece. If you would like to check out the first video and read it yourself and follow along with the videos, we have a great time reading and going through it, and the comments are super nice. You guys are always fantastic with those videos. You guys are teaching me along with me reading One Piece. It's so much fun, and like I said, it's for me, and those videos are so much fun to make, and it's been so much fun to interact with that community that, of course, it's going to be number one. So like I said, I'm not going to go into like why I think One Piece is One Piece and kind of a step above everything else. I am a fan of that series. I don't know if you can tell. There's Lucy in the background doing her thing. Cool. I will say, in short, it is a shonen series. It can be goofy. It can be sad. It can be action heavy. It can be dumb and fun, and it can be everything. And of course, it's 100 plus physical volumes, 1,060 something chapters as of the recording of this video. So yeah, it's been around for so long. Of course, it's gonna have all those things. And of course, you could think like One Piece is overly hyped, and that's fine. And it's not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. I totally get that, and I respect that. But I would be lying. Like, because I thought about this, right? I did think about this of, do I put this as number one, right? Or do I kind of just say in the front of the video, guys, obviously One Piece, right? Just because I feel like it would be known. But then I said, no, it's my favorite list of 2022. I'd be lying if I didn't put it as number one, because it is the manga that I have read the most, thought about the most, and enjoyed the most this year, without question. So yeah, I mean, I know it was not, it was anticlimactic because you were like, of course, number one. But I don't think you can find a world, characters, or a story that Oda is telling in any form of fiction, period, in my opinion, like One Piece. It is one of the most unique mangas and animes ever created. And it is what it is. It's number one. It's always, it's number one. Maybe next year, maybe 2023, maybe the chapters aren't super strong or something, and it might, like, I'm not opposed to it not being number one, but this year, without question, number one. One Piece. Come on. So that is it for my top 10 manga series of 2022. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you found a series that you hadn't heard of and became interested in, because I think, in my opinion, I just did this whole video, so obviously these are the 10 manga series that I recommend in 2022. And let me know what some of your favorite series of 2022 are in the comments down below. But as always, I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly for watching to the end of the video. It means the world to me. And if you're having a bad day, I hope it gets better. And if you're having a good day, I hope it becomes fantastic, like these top 10 manga. Like these 10 manga, they're fantastic. I hope your day is as fantastic as One Piece. That's right. That's a high compliment from me. I'll see you next time.